Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into James Clear's game-changing book, Atomic Habits. And its core idea is, well, it's simple, but honestly, it's revolutionary. Tiny 1% changes can actually compound over time to create some truly remarkable results.
I mean, come on, it's a question we've all asked ourselves, right? We set these huge, ambitious goals. We start off with all this motivation, and then, poof, we're right back where we started. So let's get into this. Because the answer isn't that you lack willpower. Nope, it's that we usually misunderstand how progress actually works. So the secret, as Clear lays it out, isn't about these massive, life-altering changes. It's all about the power of tiny gains. Think about it. Getting just 1% better each day means that by the end of the year, you'll be nearly 38 times better. But the reverse is also true. A 1% slide each day brings you almost all the way down to zero. It really forces you to see that with these small habits, time is either going to be your greatest ally or your absolute worst enemy. Okay, to really get why we get so discouraged, I want you to imagine an ice cube sitting in a cold room. We're putting in the work, we're warming up the room 1 degree at a time. But as the temperature climbs from 28 degrees, we are seeing absolutely no change. The ice cube is still just an ice cube. The temperature keeps rising, 29, 30 degrees, and still nothing. This is what James Clear calls the plateau of latent potential. You know this place. It's that super frustrating period where you know you're working hard, but the results just haven't shown up yet. At 31 degrees, we are deep in what he calls the valley of disappointment. This is it. This is the moment most people quit. They figure, well, my effort was wasted, or this strategy just isn't working. All because that ice cube is still just a block of ice. And then, the breakthrough. At 32 degrees, the ice starts to melt. That single degree shift, which looked no different from all the ones before it, suddenly unleashes this massive transformation. So you see, the work was never wasted, it was just being stored. That breakthrough moment just proves that results are lagging indicators of our effort. So where do we usually go wrong? Well, we focus on the results, the goals, instead of the system of daily actions that actually produces those results. Just let that sink in for a second. As Clear points out, winners and losers often have the exact same goals. I mean, every Olympian wants to win a gold medal. Every startup founder wants to build a successful business. Having the goal, that's not what separates people. What separates them is the system of tiny, daily habits they commit to. You know, the problem with a goals-only mindset is that you're always chasing a finish line. And once you cross it, what happens? The motivation can just disappear. Think about somebody who trains for a marathon. They finish the race and then they stop running completely. The goal created a temporary change, but the system wasn't built to last. The solution then is to build a system where you can actually feel good any time it's running. When you focus on the process, that system of habits, you don't have to wait until the very end to feel a sense of accomplishment. You get to feel like you succeeded every single time you just show up and do the routine. So how do we build one of these better systems? Well, first, we kind of need to understand the basic mechanics of a habit. And it turns out there's a simple 4-step pattern that our brain runs through for every single habit we have. Pretty much everything you do, whether you realize it or not, is driven by this simple pattern: cue, craving, response, and reward. This is the neurological feedback loop that is the backbone of every single one of your habits: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's make this real. Your phone buzzes on the table. That's the cue. You suddenly get that little itch, that urge to know who messaged you. That's the craving. You pick up your phone and check the text. That's the response. And you satisfy your curiosity. That's the reward. And that reward basically tells your brain, hey, next time that cue happens, let's do this again. Okay, so once we understand this loop, we can actually start to engineer it. We can play with it. And that's exactly what Clear's blueprint is for, the 4 laws of behavior change. Each of these laws is like a lever we can pull, and each one corresponds to a step in that habit loop. So if you want to build a good habit, you make the cue obvious, the creating attractive, the response easy, and the reward satisfying. And if you want to break a bad one, you just do the exact opposite. You invert them. All right, let's look at a really practical tool for that first law: make it obvious. It's called habit stacking. The idea is you anchor a new habit you want to start onto an existing one that you already do without thinking. For example, after I pour my morning cup of coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute.
Your coffee suddenly becomes this impossible to miss cue for meditating.
And for the third law, make it easy. We have the 2-minute rule, and this one is a game changer. The idea is you shrink any new habit down so it takes less than 2 minutes to even start. Now, the point isn't to only read one page. The point is to master the art of just showing up. Because once you start, it is so much easier to keep going.
But look, these laws and loops, they're just the tools. There is one final, really profound layer here that gives them their true power. This is the idea that ties everything together and explains why our habits matter so much more than we think.
The most effective way to change your habits is to focus not on what you want to achieve, but on who you wish to become. You see, true behavior change is identity change. The goal isn't just about getting an outcome. It's about shifting your deepest beliefs about yourself. This question, this is the real starting point. It shifts the entire focus from what do I want to get to who do I wish to become. And the reason that's so powerful is because your identity actually emerges from your habits. You literally become what you repeatedly do. So the ultimate takeaway here is this. Every single time you practice a tiny habit, you're casting a vote for your desired identity. Doing one push-up is a vote for I'm the type of person who doesn't miss workouts. Reading one page is a vote for I am a reader. These small habits don't just add up, they compound, shaping the very person you are, one atomic action at a time.